He lived in my walls for 10 years. Now he owns my house. My grandfather was a recluse who lived in a massive Victorian-style mansion on the edge of town. When he passed away, I was the only name in the will. My cousins, the Golden children who had ignored him for decades, were furious. They tried to contest the will, but my grandfather's mind was sharp until the end. I moved in, thinking I had finally escaped the family drama. But the house felt off. I'd hear footsteps in the attic when I was in the kitchen. Items would move on my nightstand. I thought it was just the house settling, or maybe the grief playing tricks on me. That changed when I found a hidden door behind a bookshelf in the library. It led to a small, fully furnished apartment tucked into the crawl space of the house. It had a bed, a kitchenette, and a monitor hooked up to the house's security cameras. But the most terrifying part? The bed was warm. Someone had been living in my grandfather's walls for years, right under our noses. I called the police, expecting a quick arrest for trespassing, but when they arrived, the man was waiting for them in the kitchen with a cup of coffee and a stack of mail. He wasn't a burglar. He was a man named Elias, and he claimed that he was the legal owner of the house. In many jurisdictions, there is a factual legal principle called adverse possession, commonly known as squatter's rights. If a person occupies a property openly, continuously, and exclusively for a certain period of time, usually 7 to 10 years, without the owner's permission, they can actually sue for the legal title to the property. Elias had been living in that secret room for exactly 11 years. He had even been paying the property taxes under a service agreement he had tricked my grandfather into signing, thinking it was just a maintenance contract. Factual property law states that if you pay the taxes and occupy the land, the true owner can lose their rights if they don't evict you in time. My cousins weren't as furious as they seemed. I hired a private investigator to look into Elias. I found out he wasn't a stranger. He was my grandfather's former business partner who had disappeared during a fraud investigation 20 years ago. The twist? My cousins hadn't ignored my grandfather. They had been the ones who helped Elias hide in the house. They knew about the adverse possession laws. They couldn't get the house through the will, so they planted Elias there to claim the house legally through the back door. The plan was for Elias to win the house in court, then sell it and split the $3 million profit with my cousins. But Elias had a twist of his own. He didn't just have my grandfather's signature on a tax agreement, he had a marriage certificate. He had convinced my grandfather, whose eyesight was failing, to sign a document that was actually a domestic partnership agreement. Under the law, a spouse's right to a primary residence almost always overrides a grandchild's inheritance. Elias didn't even need the adverse possession rights. He was legally my step-grandfather. I didn't just lose the house, I realized my entire family had been playing a 20-year game of chess while I was still playing checkers. I learned that a house isn't built of bricks and mortar, it's built of the papers you sign and the people you let walk through the door.